everyone. Good morning. We'll give it just a minute. We've got people coming in from the waiting room. We will start live here. We'll give it about 60 seconds. So thanks for joining us. All right, we are ready to get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are thrilled to have SBA with us to provide some insight on the tools for small business exporters and global supply chains. My name is Carolyn Davis. I work with the Tennessee Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And as many of you know, I'm sure on the webinar today, we also serve as the Tennessee Manufacturers Association. So today's session is specifically impacting for manufacturers. So we're very glad for you all to join us. Happy that we can partner with SBA to provide some much needed information, and we appreciate their willingness to meet today. I'm going to introduce Loretta Green first, and then let Loretta provide some remarks. Loretta Green is the Associate Administrator for International Trade. And Loretta, I'll give some remarks.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate that. It's a pleasure to be with everyone today and your members. I just started here at SBA last week, so this is one of my first, official duties. So it's great to be with everybody. I'm thrilled to be with you today on behalf of SBA and the Trump administration. And I want to thank all of you who have worked to put this together and those that have carved out time on their schedule to be with us today. I really admire and appreciate the contributions that manufacturing makes to our nation's economy. Prior to coming over to SBA, I was over at Department of Commerce in the International Trade Administration. And while I was there, I was working in industry and analysis for part of the time and with Select USA. And I will tell you this, I met with so many manufacturers and, over and over, they had talked about their optimism. However, now that we are in this Corona crisis, I know that it has created so many new challenges for you. So, I just want to assure you that we are here to help and be a tool and be a resource. And so, our team just wants to be here and work with you. One thing I want to talk to is that our SBA's export loan portfolio is strong. Over 34% of SBA export loan borrowers are manufacturers, and even more impressively, those manufacturers provide 58% of jobs supported under core export loan programs. The Tennessee Manufacturers Association and your members play a significant role along with federal, state, and local governments in emerging from the current crisis stronger than ever. We really appreciate the opportunity to engage in some dialogue on our SBA tools for small business exporters and global supply chains with you. So let's take a look at today's agenda. The slide, please. I'm here today with our Deputy Associate Administrator for International Trade, Michelle Shimp, and our Atlanta-based Regional Export Finance Manager, David Leonard. On the slide, you can see the agenda for today's call. Michelle will give an overview of the SBA's disaster assistance and then get specifically into the debt relief components of the CARES Act and some other assistance that can help boost your global sales. Then David will go into some specifics on SBA export financing before turning it over to your local Tennessee resources from the SBDC International Trade Center and the SBA District Office, Leslie Alexander and Sean McKeon. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Michelle. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Loretta, and really thanks to the organizers of this. It's a real privilege to be able to talk to Tennessee manufacturers, so thank you so much. I am going to go off of video and just do audio for the rest. I'm going to quickly, next slide please, go over some of the highlights of our disaster assistance in response to coronavirus and then transition to our normal steady state support. The four main CARES Act programs administered by SBA include first, the Paycheck Protection Program, which I think just about everybody's heard about. There is still $125 billion in resources available for companies. The application deadline is June 30th. So please do reach out to your lender. And if you looked at it once before and thought that maybe it wasn't flexible enough to meet your business's needs, I urge you to look again, because Congress provided us with some important new latitudes. And really, we want people taking advantage as much as possible of the forgiveness available via the Paycheck Protection Program. Secondly, the Economic Injury and Disaster Loan Program and the associated advances is now open for new applicants. SBA received about 5 million applications for these loans, as well as the $10,000 advance that's associated with the loans that does not need to be paid back. And we opened it up to agricultural enterprises. It's now back open to regular businesses. To date, we have processed 1.7 million applications for a grand total of $113 billion in assistance. So again, and through the advances alongside, 3.8 million grants have been dispersed for a total value of $12 billion. So clearly, if these are important, valuable to you, please do take advantage of this. And note that what's in red on this slide is incorrect. It is available to all firms, not just agriculture firms. Apologies for that. That was a change that took place last week. A third product that might be able to help you as well, if you have applied for an economic injury disaster loan and you already have a relationship with an SBA lender, you can get a bridge loan of up to $25,000 very, very quickly that can be repaid with the proceeds from the economic injury disaster loan. So a lot of companies don't know about this. And again, if this might serve your company's interest, please do take advantage, because it is very, very fast. And then the fourth one that we really want to showcase in this call are the provisions of debt relief. You know, this is super valuable and we'll want you to learn more. Next slide, please. So this has not gotten as much publicity as the other programs, but the CARES Act gave SBA money in order to pay for businesses principal, interest, and fees for a period of 6 months. This is not a deferment of a loan. This is SBA paying principal, interest, and fees. So if you currently have an SBA loan, automatically SBA was going to start paying those payments. If that didn't happen, you let us know. Let your lender know, because it was supposed to be automatic. And if you're considering one of our 7A, 504 micro loans, and especially what we want to talk to you about today is our export loans, and you enter into that loan agreement prior to September 27th, again, SBA will pay principal, interest, and fees for the first 6 months. So we think that with, you know, what's going on and companies that are either directly exporting or selling to other businesses that export, and we're looking around and seeing that maybe your domestic customers were affected by COVID and all of a sudden you're interested in pursuing some of the new opportunities with Canada or Mexico as part of US-Mexico-Canada agreement. If you're trying to figure out how you could enter into new markets, again, our loan portfolio, and David Leonard's going to talk about it in greater detail later, can be helpful to you. I think you also know that international sales help you hedge in times of crisis against the detrimental effects of COVID on our domestic market. So we really want to encourage you to talk with your lender about how this debt relief could meet your permanent working capital needs, refinancing for plant and equipment, and other purposes. Next slide. This slide, David, we're going to come back to this slide for you. Next slide, please. Great. In addition to the COVID response programs and the generous provisions of the CARES Act, I want you to know about how we can help small business exporters, direct exporters, and indirect exporters at any given time, and how we can help keep you competitive compared to your competitors. Basically, there are a lot of reasons why businesses don't export. They lack information, think it's too complex, they don't know how to find international buyers, or they don't know how to get access to capital. Basically, SBA has solutions to each of these that I'm going to talk to you about today. Next slide. So the first is information, business intelligence, and how you deal with changing times. We thought about what we did for businesses, and especially what we do for manufacturers, because you are so valuable as customers and to our national economy, as Loretta pointed out. And the kinds of services we do is, we serve you with a white glove service. We will meet privately with SBA, with you, understand your company's unique needs, bring together our senior trade and technical staff, and determine what it is you need. We'll provide you with quick access to information, help you navigate your eligibility requirements. If we don't have the right services here at SBA, we know the main players, and you would receive the introductions and professional referrals to those at the federal, state, or local level who can help you. And the bottom line here is that you're, as business owners, dealing with tremendous stresses and trying to figure out how you can adapt your own business plans, your own priorities to changing circumstances. The last thing you need to do is try to figure out how you navigate the services available to you through government. We'll do that for you. So it's really just as simple as a phone call away or an email to international@sba.gov, and a real live person, a real live expert, will reach out to you and start figuring out what you need. Next slide, please. A second service that is tremendously important to know about, and a lot of companies don't, is that through the state, you can get a grant that can help you to expand into new markets if you're already an exporter, or to go international if you haven't already exported. Grants can cover things like real trade missions or virtual trade missions. Meeting businesses overseas, or increasingly now we're in the virtual realm. A lot of companies want to optimize their websites, translate websites, figure out how they can get into new markets with market research or checking on customers. This is a good time. We find that we can provide you a grant to take advantage of training workshops like West Export Tech, or designing your marketing media and more. So Tennessee is a great partner in our STEP program, and you can find the coordinates on Tennessee right there at sba.gov international. Last year alone, this program helped over 6,000 businesses with $18 million in grants, which in turn reported over $963 million worth of export sales. So please do take advantage of this resource. And at this point, I am going to turn the presentation over to David Leonard, who's our export finance manager. He's our trade finance specialist that serves Tennessee. Over to you, David.
Good morning, and thank you, Michelle, and good morning to everyone there in Tennessee. Thanks for having me there today. Today we're going to touch now a little bit more about our resources that are available to you in our loan programs, and then I'm going to go back to that slide 5, Carolyn, to give you a little bit of heads up towards the end there. I'll give you a heads up, okay? So starting off here, we're looking at e-commerce and the digital resources. Now, more than 4.5 billion people are online. That number's really growing fast. Every day, more people are gaining access to the internet for the first time worldwide, keeping in mind SBA and Department of Commerce want to help you increase your online presence. They're actually doing a training right now. It's part of a 4-part training they've been doing. You can sign up for free. Go to the Commerce Department I actually was part of it a week ago, and you can see about how to maybe increase your sales online, including abroad, building your brand name and recognition, using online resources, and finding new partners and sales opportunity. Just go to trade.gov e-commerce. And like I said, there's one of those classes actually taking place today, this afternoon. Next slide. In terms of the financing, your international trade, looking at the different resources that are out there, SBA has our loan programs, the SBA export loan programs. Those particular loan programs are available in 3 different products, and these have always been out there. This is something that is not new. That some of the things that disaster programs that Michelle talked about just a moment ago are new and to respond specifically to the pandemic. Our export loan programs, though, provide resources across the board, regardless of what type of financing you need. So we partner with our lending partners to provide these 3 different loan products to both direct and indirect exporters. And that's a key message I want to leave everyone with there, what I just said. Direct exporting is we're familiar with that. For those of you that already export, you're selling into other countries. But indirect exporters, you're those companies that are selling to other U.S. businesses who then take your product or service, incorporate it, and then sell it abroad. That is an indirect export. It's also known as being part of their supply chain. And we are part of that in terms of our loan programs. We can provide the financing to help you go ahead and give you the same guarantees as an indirect exporter as we do as a direct exporter. Over the past year, we went ahead through these loan programs and gave loans out to guaranteed loans through the banks of about $2.3 billion. The 3 loan programs start off with, first of all, our Export Express program. This particular program is a very quick, easy to access, provides capital for your businesses for financing up to $500,000. A lot of times it can be for smaller loans. I see a lot of these in the $10,000 to $50,000 range. They get down towards the micro loans also. You can apply for a line of credit prior to finalizing an export sale, or even visiting a foreign market. So you can use it for trade, development, business development. You can also getting your finances lined up to ensure you have adequate financing before you start agreeing to contract terms. This is a very flexible product. It can be structured either as a term loan or a line of credit so that you can draw the money as you need it or set up as a term loan, depending on what type of capital you need. So easy to get to, easy to use. Our next loan program is our one that is our what we call our flagship. This is where actually I get involved with you and your lender, because we actually process the loans. We work directly with the lender to help put these together for you, our export working capital program. These are the programs where you've actually received a contract or you've got some orders out there you need to fulfill and you need to finance those. We can do that through revolving lines of credit, through working capital loans. These can go up to $5 million. The advantage being is these can be structured either as asset-based loans or as purchase order financing, where we actually will fund against a purchase order. And we'll talk about that again a little bit in just a moment. The last one then is our most popular one, the international trade loan. And this is what banks are most familiar with. It's a term loan where you can go ahead and finance capital assets, where you need to go ahead and you've been affected by foreign competition, you need to retool, you need to expand to better compete, you need to go ahead and you want to move into exporting or you want to grow your export sales. And one of the big things too, I was just talking to a company, it was very funny, just before I came online, where we can also help you refinance debt and help make available working capital by lowering your debt service. So the international trade loan is very, very popular for doing that. Next slide. So when you're thinking about financing your sales, you have to think about it in terms of what am I trying to do? What am I trying to go ahead and what do I need? How do I need this financing? Well, one of the things that we can do is we can help you provide payment terms. If customers are out there asking for terms, they need terms. You know, when you go anywhere now, everybody's working capital's tight, revenues are down. They need to go ahead and they need some terms so you can go ahead and they can sell that product. So this loan products that we're talking about can help you provide payment terms to your customers to make you more competitive. It also allows, as I talked about, proactive marketing, where you can go ahead and reach out, market directly to customers using the Gold Key services from our partners from the Department of Commerce, working with our partners in the state, going on a governor's trade mission, wherever you need to do, or go to trade shows. You can use this product for getting out there and finding those new customers. You can use it for purchasing machinery or equipment. You need to expand your demand. You've got new orders. You've got a client that's coming in and it's going to cause you, the person I was talking to just before I came online, you need to expand this capacity by 2,000 units a month. That's a lot. So you need to go ahead and how can I go ahead and take those sales and increase those sales? Well, generally it's going to take for you to increase your capacity. You may need to build a new building. You need to buy some new machinery and equipment, and that fixed asset loans allow you to do that. One of the biggest things in terms of SBA financing that's different than our other partners is that we also provide international purchase order financing. If you've got a contract or you have a purchase order from your customer, we can finance up to 90% of that contract to get sold, the lesser of the two. It provides you then that capital to fulfill that contract. You don't have to have a receivable in hand. You don't have to have the inventory. You may need to build it. You may need to buy that inventory to go ahead and fulfill that contract. And this ability to finance that is key. And you use the purchase order or the contract as collateral to get the money. That's allowing you to leverage those assets that normally are on the books that are not financeable. And then finally, we can allow you to go ahead and issue bid bonds for advance payment or performance guarantees. A lot of times now to take away some of the risk, or you may need some money up front to start a contract, but your buyer is saying, I need a standby letter of credit. I need a performance bond because I need to be ensured that the money's going to come back to me in case there's a problem. Well, with our loan guarantees and our export working capital program and our export express program, we could help provide that performance bond or that standby letter of credit for a quarter of what it normally costs you through the bank. Normally the banks require 100% money down in escrow. We only require 25% with our guarantee. That's something to really think about. And the whole idea about doing this is we have 21 of me around the United States. I cover Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Massachusetts. And I don't know how that came about, but Michelle can talk about it later. But those particular states, I cover those states, but I have my counterparts all around the country. And we're there to available to go ahead and sit down and talk to you, just like I was talking to a client before I got on the call here today, about how we can look at these types of ideas. What do you need to do? What are you trying to accommodate? And how do we go ahead and put the financing in place to help you do that, working through a bank or helping you to find a bank to do that? Next slide, please. So one of the things that we're talking about a lot today is new ideas. What are we trying to do? Reshoring and pivoting assistance. That's a big word. That's become a big key word here. I hear a lot of us saying pivoting. We're pivoting. We're going to pivot somewhere. We're going to change. And it just means change. We have to adapt to change and be prepared. One of the things as we look at this, in terms of these new processes, we may need to expand, build new production facilities. We need to put in new warehouses for the exports. We may need to go ahead and build new supplier networks. Like the gentleman I was talking to just before the call, his people were normally his supply chain only provide 200 units a month. Well, he's going to have to go up to 2,000 units a month. That means they've got to retool because that's instead of laser cutting, they've got to stamp the product. So the ability to go ahead and work with that supply chain, because we can not only provide financing to the customer that called me, but we can also help provide financing to the supply chain to that indirect export idea I talked about a little bit earlier. We can provide in-house design and prototyping capabilities, where if you want to go ahead and you want to put in that type of facility within your company, you can do that. Through our other products right now, we can provide changes of ownership where you need to expand and you're going to go ahead and buy another business to get into a particular product or market. You may need consulting or professional services. And again, that product development, that Export Express and the flexibility of that product is great and allows you to do that. And then one of the things we all have to be prepared and be protected about is intellectual property protection. When you go into foreign markets, you need to do that. And that we provide that service through our financing, through our Export Express program. And we're going out now throughout the country with Department of Commerce and doing training for you to help you that. So keep an eye out for that. Next slide, please. So let's slip back down to slide 5, Carolyn, if you don't mind. So one of the things, as we were talking about just a moment ago, that when Michelle was going through the debt relief, a lot of the companies are facing new challenges today. And you have to think about, when I face these new challenges, what am I going to do? Well, the financing, we can help you do this. But when you're looking at these types of ideas, I've got my credit insurance has been canceled or reduced. I've lost my line of credit, or I've lost my working capital, it's been reduced. I've got demand from the foreign buyers for the advanced payment performance guarantees, or supply chains now. The original equipment manufacturers are asking me to go ahead and stretch out terms. I'm going to get paid a little bit later. So how am I going to do that? As I've explained through our different loan programs here, we can touch all these ideas, all these challenges that we're coming up to in today's marketplace, touch those and help you find solutions to do that. So let's go back now to slide. I believe we're going to slide. There we go, getting help. So keeping in mind then, thank you, Carolyn, great job. Nimble. We go ahead and we provide those resources. So as Michelle talked about a little bit earlier, is our white glove service. You can go ahead, you can reach out to our offices in Washington. We're going to help you provide that white glove service. But when you think about export financing, we're kind of a circle. And I'm going to introduce some of my other partners in just a minute. But once you get in the circle, we all know each other. So I'm kind of the first step there. And there's my information, david.leonard@sba.gov. Just drop me an email. I'll get back in touch with you. We'll start the process and help determine where along the steps you need to go. My colleagues, Leslie's going to talk in just a minute about the STEP program, and I'm going to leave that to her. She's got some great news there that she can go ahead and help you with that business development and looking out for marketing. And then finally, our partners, the SBDC, SCORE, the Veterans Business Outreach Center, the Women's Business Centers, there's local assistance there to help you put this together. Specifically there in Tennessee, I work very closely with the International Trade Center at the SBDC. We go across the state every year and do outreach across the state. So if you need those resources, that's one of the great steps to reach out to. First of all is the International Trade Center at the SBDC there. You can call our toll-free number to start the white glove service, or you can email us at international@sba.gov to start that process. And we now have regular newsletters, or if you want to find out about our webinars, you can go to the sba.gov website, the newsroom/newsroom, and sign up for our newsletter. With that, I'm going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Sean McKeon. It says see Sean, it's Christopher, but we all know he's Sean. Sean is the deputy director there in Tennessee. He's a great partner. He's a native Tennessean. He's from Tennessee. He is true orange man right there. He's all about being from Tennessee. And of course, my colleague, Leslie Alexander. So Sean, I'm going to turn it over to you first of all, if you don't mind.
Leslie was going to go first, so I'll let Leslie go, and then I'll offer a few comments.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Nope, no problem. It's listed differently. Just want to say hi, welcome everybody. Sean and I, as David said, are your local contacts, and that's our contact information. I just want to reiterate the services that we provide out of the Tennessee International Trade Center, which is based in Nashville, but we have consultants across the state, and they can support your business to develop, re-examine, and get into new markets. As we know, the world has changed, and now we are looking at things in a different manner. We have a lot of virtual trade shows going on. People are doing more business-to-business matchmaking online, and that's something that we had already put into play. So our real job is to be your trusted advisor as you enter into new markets, and we help Tennessee small and medium-sized businesses do just that. So the one thing that we also offer that I think is the carrot to get people interested is the State Trade Expansion Program, which will help your business receive a reimbursement up to $10,000 a year for trade activities. And as Michelle explained it, each state has it a little bit differently. And what we do are just these financial assistance awards. We let you determine your best activity and then help you get there and be successful. So one thing that the CARES Act has done for us is it has provided us the ability to go back in time. So if your company has some business that you did back into October of 2018, we can help you with a reimbursement. It is a limited pot of money, but please contact me if you think that your company could use that, benefit from that. We will be receiving more funds for it in the October of 2020 because the SBA is very, very much embracing the export activities. And as Loretta said, these SBA export loans, and as David went into more explanation of it, those are a great tool, but those are loans. What we have is a grant, which we don't have you pay us back. It's your money to use and to help you grow your business. So we also, through the CARES Act, have some more activity that we can support. So as I said, my contact information is right there. Please reach out to us. We are your local connection to helping small and medium-sized businesses grow. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Sean.
Hello, I'm Sean McKeon with the SBA Tennessee District Office. I am, as Dave said, a native Tennessean. I've been around SBA since about 1993, and I'm happy to be back in Tennessee to help you folks. You can call our office. We'll be happy to connect you with local lenders in Tennessee. We'll be happy to get you involved in counseling and training. Majority of our training is done now virtually, but we hope to get back out there someday soon in person. So feel free to give me a call. And if you have any logistical issues with the PPP program or our idle loan advance and loans, we are happy to triage that for you. So reach out to us.
So with that, I guess we're going to open it up for questions now. Carolyn, next slide.
Excellent, thank you. And David, I know you mentioned your email address, and that was actually not on the slide, but I did send it in the chat box.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we didn't get the
Yeah.
updated slide. I apologize.
I appreciate the nimble compliment, though, so thank you.
Ah, it's okay.
Well, great. Well, I do have a couple questions here, and I guess this is to the group, so whomever would be best to answer would be great. Could you share, when does USMCA go into effect, and can you talk about how U.S. small businesses can take advantage of that?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you want to go, Leslie? Go ahead.
I was just going to say July 1.
There you go.
Yeah, and I don't know if you're planning anything special in Tennessee, but I know we are planning some trainings for small businesses to explain how to take advantage. So if anybody wants to be invited, please just email us at international@sba.gov, and we'd love to add you to that. We want to partner with Customs and Border Protection and some other resource providers. And then SBA is developing a online portal that'll be on sba.gov that'll help businesses figure out how to take advantage of USMCA and other free trade agreements.
Hey,
That's
Caroline.
great.
Oh, I'm jumping in. Caroline, if you're doing any activities, let us know.
Oh, sure.
Maybe we
certainly
can augment. Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you. All right. Another question. Where can we get assistance with export business planning? And is that something that SBA does, or would one need to go somewhere else?
I'll take that one.
Oh,
Carolyn.
go ahead, Leslie, please.
Yeah, hi, David. Yes, we do that through our small business development centers here in Tennessee, of which there are 14 around the state, and we have about 10 counselors who are educated with the Certified Global Business Professional exam and other credentials to help our companies get into new markets. So please contact the local SBDC, as it says on our contact information. That's www.tsbdc.org, and we'll help you. There's also a button there if you go to the International Trade Center website, and it's an export readiness assessment that we ask all our companies to work on. So if you want to go ahead and get in the pipeline, I recommend you fill out that export readiness assessment. We will review that and get back to you within a week or even sooner and then we can start doing the export business planning and help you get on your way. Thank you.
Very good.
That was great detail. Thank you so much. Next question, could you share any thoughts on global market opportunities in this time of coronavirus?
I'll take that one too. I'm the brave soul. So what we're seeing, and I mentioned during the presentation, is more of these virtual matchmaking and virtual trade shows. We're hearing that some of the exhibition companies are working on doing face-to-face trade shows, temperature checks, more space, limited access to the venues. We in Tennessee are focusing and supporting businesses when they ask that question to contact us again, and we can look into the market specifically. Our office is able to run market reports and develop market entry opportunities for you. One thing that we're seeing, and with our partners at Commerce, is website optimization. It's a great time to take a critical look at your website, look at the countries that you're serving or want to serve, and then optimize that, the search engine, the translations, and make sure that it's really speaking to those markets. A lot of people, make their website and then walk away. So we want to make sure that everybody's up to date on that. And then also the business-to-business matchmaking through our international partners at the embassies and other areas. We have a list of consultants in international regions around the world who we utilize. They're vetted, trusted, and they do great work. So visit us at the tsbdc.org website and we'll help you out.
And I'm going to jump in.
Please,
I'm just going to jump in too and just say, Leslie, great points. Another thing about looking for opportunities is the whole point of diversifying the supply chain, the idea that we need to be looking at bringing manufacturing back. So everything is circular in nature right now. We're looking for opportunities to export, but we're also saying, how do we make our national security stronger? We are going to be, maybe that's something that my office will be looking into at some point, about how can we be identifying what needs to come back to our shores, and then that's an opportunity for our U.S. business enterprises to be taking advantage of and making us a stronger country. So there we go.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, this is David. I just want to add one last thing to there, and somebody we haven't mentioned up until now, although they've been talking about it, is the Department of Commerce. We have 3 USEACs, U.S. Export Assistance Centers, that have support there in Tennessee. There's one in Knoxville, there's one in Nashville, and there's one in Memphis. And we have staff there that can help you go ahead and look at the markets. They have contacts, of course, with the commercial attaches and the embassies around the world, can help you look at all those different things, vetting clients and working that out. So when you reach out to me or Leslie or any of the group here, we can go ahead and make sure we put you in touch with the USEAC too, because that's a great partner in terms of vetting markets.
Great, thanks, David. Did you have anything, Michelle, you wanted to add, or did Loretta cover it?
Loretta really covered it, but I think I thought of another point, really. SBA has a seat at the table in terms of trade agreements and trade negotiations. And if you're really looking for where the opportunities are right now, I urge you to look at the countries with which we have free trade agreements in place. I've heard from a lot of companies that have diversified their field operations. They're based in the US, but they've got partnerships and customers in other countries. And it has made them more resilient in this time, these crazy, crazy times. And so, do take advantage of that. And then we are currently engaged in trade negotiations with the United Kingdom, currently engaged in free trade agreement negotiations with Kenya as a sort of door to African trade. And if you have particular interests, please do share them with us, because we can make sure those perspectives get reflected through our seat at the table and on our advocacy for small business. Thanks.
That was great to add. Thank you for letting us know. Another question, I think, Michelle, you mentioned discussion of the PPP and the EIDL loans at the beginning. Do you all think there's a possibility that those would be extended, those loan opportunities?
It's hard to speculate on that. I don't have, it does seem to me, with an emphasis on trying to reach as many businesses as possible, and with $125 billion remaining to be dispersed, it would require congressional action. And so I really can't, I don't have any inside knowledge of that. But I do know that the economic injury disaster loans, again, were just reopened on June 15th. And we're continuing to accept applications and process on a first come, first serve anyone who has applied before.
Great. Thank you all so much. I think that wraps up the questions that have been submitted so far. I don't know if Loretta, if you might want to have any closing remarks, or if you all would kind of just, kind of tie everything together, just kind of in a brief wrap up before we close out.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for joining in, and just want to encourage anybody on the call, please do outreach to our offices, to our great finance managers to help you. And we just look forward to more engagement with your organization. So,
Awesome,
Michelle,
thank you.
Michelle, do you have anything to say?
I did miss one question. If you all don't mind, I'll ask that before we officially close. Do all of these incredible benefits through SBA apply to service companies as well as manufacturers, or primarily manufacturers?
Nope, service companies are great too. We, we serve small business clients, period, and we understand that service providers are really important, valuable segment of exporters, and probably only more so in the face of COVID. So while we love manufacturers, that doesn't mean we don't love service companies. We love small businesses and serve all. So thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Well, to everyone with SBA that joined us today, we appreciate it greatly. From the Tennessee Chamber and the Tennessee Manufacturers Association, we look forward to continuing to aid each other in getting this great information out and keeping our companies informed throughout daily changes, weekly changes, especially through these tough times. So thank you all so much. We will send out this recording. I know there were quite a few slides with contact details. We'll make sure to extend the emails and any phone numbers that are needed. So please reach out to anybody at the chamber, Susie, myself. We'll be happy to connect you with the correct person. So Loretta, Michelle, thank you all. David, Leslie, Sean, we appreciate it. Stephen.
We appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
so much.
everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.